Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing my own nails and I thought I would bring you along for the ride. So I've just used some of our builder gel as my base just to build up some structure and just make sure they're nice and safe and I can't break them because I don't do nail extensions, I just do my own natural nails. I have done this the previous day, so what I did was just buff down the tops of the nails and just going back in with some base coat just to start off for the design, just to make sure everything sticks and nothing comes off. And please ignore my cuticle area because when I'm doing my nails I'm so clumsy and I do sometimes catch myself, so that's on me. Obviously don't do that if you've got clients, but this is just because it's my own nails that I tend to just forget about that kind of thing and go a bit haphazard. So once that base coat's on, I'm just going to pop it in the lamp for 60 seconds and then I'm taking starfruit and I'm just doing a layer of this all over my nails. And although it's a jelly colour, it does give like enough coverage that it hides the whites of your nails a little bit when I'm doing a design like this. I don't need the background to be totally opaque, I just want it to kind of disguise my actual natural nail. So the design today that I'm going for is kind of like leopard print, but I'm using more of a tortoiseshell technique, so I'll show you that as I go. And then I'm going to go in with some blue accents, so I might do some French tips, I might do some stars, flames, all kinds of stuff, just a bit of a mixy matchy set. So once I'm happy with the coverage of that, I'm just going to pop that in the lamp to cure, and then I'm going to be taking some blooming gel and just adding a layer of this on all of the nails and leave that uncured. And this is going to be to make our leopard print pattern, but like I say, I'm doing this more like I was doing a tortoise shell. So I'm going to be adding on a colour into the blooming gel, let that spread out, and then add on some harsher lines to make it more leopard printy. So we're leaving that blooming gel uncured, and then I'm taking Juniper and just a dotting tool, and I'm just going to dot on some random shapes. They don't have to be too circular, they can be a bit oval, a little bit more square. I'm just trying to make sure that they're dense enough that when they spread out you can still really see the colour, and this is just going to be to go underneath for the softer part of our leopard printy look. So I've just done my thumb first because I do find that the position that my thumb sits in and the shape of my nail when it's in the lamp, if it's with the rest of my nails, sometimes it pools at the side, so sometimes I'll just do my thumb separately. So I've just been in and done that, and I'm just going through the other fingers and just popping on some blooming gel before going back in with that Juniper. So again, leaving that uncured and then just taking Juniper and going in and just adding some random shapes all over the nails. I try not to go too close to the edges because I don't want the nails to get too bulky around the edges. I try and concentrate these dots further towards the middle. And you can see they just start to spread out with that blooming gel, and once I'm happy with how spread out they are, I'll pop them in the lamp. Once that's cured, I'm taking Serious Black and a fine detail brush, and all I'm doing is just marking some shapes around those blooming gel bits that we've just done, that Juniper that we've just used. And this is just to make it look like leopard print, otherwise it would look a lot like tortoise shell. And I just wanted to try a slightly different technique for leopard print. So yeah, just kind of wobbly curved lines around the outside to kind of give it a little border, but I don't tend to join these up. And I'm just going to go in and do exactly the same thing on all of the rest of the nails. Once that's all done and cured, I'm just taking our gel top coat nail sealer, and I love using this when I've done any detail work like this and there's some raised bits, because it's just a little bit thicker than our normal top coat and it just evens everything out just a little bit more. You don't always want a thicker top coat, but with these kind of designs I tend to use this just to give me a smoother finish. And again, I'm just curing that thumb first just so it doesn't slide around on the nail before I go in with the rest of the nails. This is such a simple look to do, especially if you're new to nail art or you're doing your own nails. As you can see, I've found it really easy to do on mine. I tend to do a lot of abstract nail art on my own just to make it a little bit easier. It doesn't have to be too precise. Sometimes I like to push myself though, but this is so easy. Once that's cured, I'm just taking a buffing block and just buffing down the whole nail. I am going to be doing some detail work, so I would normally have a matte base anyway. I didn't really want to add on another layer of matte coat and add more bulk, and plus I thought this way it'll just even off the nail a little bit if I've left any wobbly bits that haven't been filled in by the top coat. So yeah, just buff all those nails down, make sure they're all dusted off as well, and then I'm using Gilt Trip for my bluey colour. Gilt Trip is honestly one of my favourite colours that we do. I don't know what it is, it's just the most beautiful bluey tone I've ever seen. So for this nail, I'm just going in and doing a French tip, which I do French tips on my own nails relatively often, so I don't find them too difficult. But you can draw in a little grid if you do struggle with them. Just pop a line down the middle and then pull down your lines from the side on a diagonal, meeting right at the bottom of the nail in the middle, and that'll really help you to start that smile line off. We do have some videos showing you how to do like a perfect French tip if you need a little bit of help, so have a look for them. And then I'm just going in and filling in that French tip with the gel polish brush. And I'm just taking a fine detail brush just to kind of finish off the edges, especially because I've got a lot of extra product with the builder gel on my nails. I just want to make sure I get into the sides and the corners of the nail really well. For the next design, I'm just doing a star, so I'm starting off with a dot, like relatively big dot, and then I just use a fine detail brush and pull it out into the shape. I find this is the easiest way for me to do it. I get my lines all in place and then I build them out from there, because I sometimes find stars can be really difficult to get the proportions right and they can look really skew with, which is fine if that's the look you're going for, but I wanted it to look a little bit more traditional and a little bit more even. So yeah, just put in those lines and then pull them out. For the next one, I'm just adding in a really simple flower, literally just putting 5 dots where the petals would be, and then I'm just going to go in with some serious black and dot that right in the middle just to even off the middle of the flower, because they can go a little bit wibbly wobbly with the dotting tool. So like I say, that's cured, and I'm just taking serious black and adding a little dot in the middle. And as you can see from all of the designs, Gilt Trip has unbelievable coverage, so I literally only needed 1 coat, even on the French tip. It's so easy. For this one, I decided to do a lightning strike, and I've got to be honest with you, I've always struggled with lightning strikes. I just can never get them to look right. So I thought I'm going to really push myself today and do a really, really teeny tiny one, because who doesn't need a challenge in their lives? So I actually came out really happy with this one. I sat and I looked at some reference images, I looked at all of the angles and just made sure that I was getting it exactly how I wanted it to. And as you can see, it worked really quickly as well. So I'm really pleased with that. For the thumb, I decided to do some flames, and flames are another one which are relatively new to me. It's something I don't do very often. And I did do them on a look recently and kind of broke down the process of how to draw them so they actually look like flames. So I always start with 2 prongs in the middle, and it's basically like a wobbly fork. That's the only way I can describe it, a wibbly wobbly fork. So I've just gone in and done that, and then I just do some extra flames at the side and join them all up with some curves. So it's all about line quality as well with flames. You want to be able to go from quite a thick line to quite a thin line quite quickly to make it look effective, if that makes any sense. Now I'm happy with the design, I'm just going to pop it into cure, and then I'm taking some top coat and literally just top coating all of the nails just to seal them all in. You can go in and file around the tips of your nails, especially because we've been adding a lot of different things around the tips, just to make sure they're nice and even before you go in with your top coat. That's what I did do, but I just didn't show it on camera because I forgot. And once that's all on, I'm going to pop it in the lamp to cure, and there we have the final nails, guys. I'd love to know what you think. These are definitely not for everyone. They're a little bit tacky and a little bit gaudy, but sometimes I like a little bit of a tacky nail, I have to be honest. But yeah, let us know what you think down below, and let us know what you want to see next. If you want any of the products I've used today, they'll be tagged down below as well. There'll be an easy shopping link for you, and we'll see you next time. Bye guys.